we are. Jazz season is almost upon us. 1 week away. Corstian is clearly excited about this, and I can't wait. I can't wait. Yeah, fireworks galore. It's gonna be in Detroit, about 2.5 hours from where I'm at in Michigan. Um, I will be visiting Corstian tomorrow. We're gonna grab dinner. We're probably just gonna talk about the draft the entire time.
Mhm.
So guys, welcome back. Hope you've enjoyed this off season for both the NFL and NBA. A lot of great basketball games I saw yesterday. It's great to see a Bulls win. Feel really bad for Caruso and Jimmy Butler. Those are nasty injuries.
Mhm.
So hopefully they recover okay. But Corson, how are you doing this week? I know we got a lot going on. Draft season's upon us. Are you excited?
Yeah, I'm pretty excited. Obviously, like in all like the forums and all the articles that I see, it just filler moment of speculation just from fans and just other kind of sports talking heads, and so I'm just excited for the draft to finally happen. Kind of see what the Broncos actually will do instead of, oh, theoretically. Like I saw a thing on like Reddit today, I think, where someone was saying, "Oh yeah, this is exactly what Sean Payton's plan is. It's either to trade up for JJ McCarthy, or if they don't get him at 12, they'll trade down to get Bo Nix." I'm like that's such like a oddly specific thing to be like, "Oh, this is exactly what he'll do." So I'm just excited for, all of the pre-draft or speculation to be done and the actual thing to happen, and hopefully the Broncos get good guys.
Yeah, I mean, they could stay at 12 and pick up Penix the way I'm looking at these mock drafts
Hmm.
because, like, if they really value a quarterback that badly and they don't want to trade up, like, it looks like the league doesn't value Penix as a top 15 player.
Hmm.
And I think that would be a perfect guy for Sean Payton's scheme. But, like, then it's a question of, like, do you want to trade back and try and accumulate more draft picks to get Penix because people don't value him? Or do you want to not take a risk and just take Penix at 12 because it only takes one team to take him in the top 15. Heck, the
Hmm.
Bears traded up to pick Mitch Trubisky. So teams value positions and like quarterbacks at these positions differently. I think this is a great draft for offensive tackles, wide
Hmm.
receivers,
Oh yeah.
quarterbacks. That'd be great class. And um, I thought Jared Verse would be a top 10 pick, but there's a chance he might not be with the
Hmm.
way like this is headed. It's all dependent on how things are gonna go. But we got a lot of fun stuff in store for you guys today. Before we go on with that, just a quick thing I wanted to get Coruscant's opinions and wanted to bring awareness to this. I just saw news that um, for the top 30 visit, the Commanders had 20 draftees come in and play top golf together, meet with executive, meet with coaches and whatnot. I don't think I've ever heard like a top 30 visit like that.
Hmm.
Coruscant, did you get a chance to see this news? And then if you did, what did you make of it?
I had not seen that news, but um, honestly, that sounds kind of cool. I feel like I feel like these like historically at least the Commanders have been seen as kind of like a almost toxic place to be a like just employed at, and so it seems like they're trying to push like kind of like a more positive-ish kind of outlook for players coming in, and trying to hype up players wanting to maybe be more excited to go to that spot.
Yeah, 100% agree with you there. I also think like the way like Adam Peters is trying to drive this team in the new ownership group, like this seems like a very creative group.
Hmm.
Like it's almost like if you think about you don't associate like creative with the NFL unless it comes to like offensive coordinators or like
Hmm.
guys like scramble and find and make plays out of nothing. And Adam Peters might be a very creative GM that we have yet to realize because like I don't think I've seen this approach before. I think I was watching the Pat McAfee show yesterday when Bill Belichick came on and said he had like and that was crazy. I did not expect to see Bill Belichick just come on a random podcast and talk ball. That'll be fun. Apparently, he's going to show up on the Pat McAfee show and
Hmm.
cover the NFL draft. So I might be tuning into that on Thursday. So we were thinking about doing a live stream, but maybe that's far in the future. But
Hmm.
just hearing the process from like former coaches in the NFL and like former GMs and like current GMs on like how they're going about this. That'd be interesting. Even the Bears like having like mini golf in their like draft interviews for 15 minutes. Like I like this approach because it kind of like takes the pressure off like the draftees to like be very PR centric, like know how to answer like interview questions. That will come like when they have to go to press conferences after games. But I think you'll get more into like the competitive nature of prospects. And like again, we spend so much time talking about football. They play so much of time football, like in a profession, but preparing to make it to the league, that they forget this is a game. And I think to see the competitive nature out of these draft prospects will tell you a lot about them, like how they react to situations. Do they hate losing? Do they lose their grace? Or like, do they know how to bring like guys together, guys they don't know very well, because that's the reality of these prospects going on to new teams and whatnot. And I think it's a very creative way to like try and like bring that out of a guy in a visit and see like what their personality is like. Is that somebody I would want to be around 24/7 and when I'm trying to pursue winning a Super Bowl with this guy? And I think you can glean a lot from that. So I think it's a unique take rather than having a guy come in for an interview, like maybe go over some tape and like go through their process. I think it's just different and I like it. I like the creativity here. It's fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it kind of reminds me in a completely different way of like how Nick Sirianni was his first year as the head coach, I think, right? Where I think with draft prospects, he's like playing rock, paper, scissors in their like interviews or
Yeah.
something like that. And like
Yeah.
everybody's like, what the heck is this, you know? But then it's kind of like wacky stuff like this. Obviously, it gets people talking, but then I don't know. I don't know. It's kind of fun to see just coaches with these kind of goofier personalities. I mean, we see that with Mike McDaniel as well, where he's kind of like a goofier guy, and so I don't know. It's fun.
Yeah. And oftentimes, like Mike McDaniel doesn't even try to be goofy. And it just comes out. He's just like a naturally cool dude. I know we kept talking about the Dolphins in previous episodes. I'm like, if they add another receiver X to this offense, they'd be like crazy good. But like, that's like, it's the environment and the culture you brought. Like, I think having new innovative minds like in different positions rather than just offensive coordinators is really great for the league and it's starting to show itself in like things like this. So I think it's going to be great. All right. Let's see here. I clicked on my desktop for a minute, so it took me a minute to get back to where I was. We're going to get to the fun stuff now. We have a draft simulator set up to the first 3 rounds, and then we're going to plan to talk about like any of the guys that don't get drafted in rounds 4 and 5 for you guys. So similar to last year, how we did this, we're going to use PFF this time. I think it's a better software. We might have used. I clearly don't watch the recordings from last year, so like I don't know what software we use, but
It might have
we're
been.
still going to do a mock draft. It would be fun, but sorry, Corey, I totally cut you off there.
Oh no. I'm just like thinking because I remember we had looked at something like this, but I don't know. I feel like I don't know. Never mind. We'll just keep going.
Yeah, it's not coming to me either. So we'll just move on. But like Corstian and I are gonna play GM for a bit, which should be a lot of fun. We're gonna go through each of these picks one by one, give a quick snapshot on like what we think is gonna be like the best ideal pick for these teams, and then I put no rules on Corsian here, so if he wants to trade up to make a pick, he can definitely do it. And we're not going to pay attention to the compensation too much, but I mean, obviously, if it's going to be like a first round pick for like a 7th round pick, like I'm probably going to veto that. But pretty much no rules here. Should be just some fun. We have our own unique tastes on like where we value these prospects, so it would be very interesting to go for this. So you ready, Corsian?
I am ready.
Okay. And just because I don't want Corsian to pick JJ McCarthy first overall, I'm going to start off with my favorite team, the Bears. Lots of speculation here. If this was me, I would want to have Marvin Harrison Jr. at number 1 if the Bears did not trade Fields at all. I've been saying this all along. I think it's no secret that I wanted him on the team. But the Bears made the commitment to trade Fields to Pittsburgh because they rather build through the draft. I think it's no secret they're taking a quarterback. Lots of people know who it is. And I have a pretty good idea of who it might be as well. Not saying I know the Bears and I'm inside the locker room, but I would hope they pick Caleb Williams and not go the Mr. Trubisky route. So I'm going with him. All righty.
Nice.
Who you got?
For the Commanders, let's see what you put. Okay. I think they are also a team very much in need of quarterback. And I think it's a guy that has really shot up over the past couple months. But this would be just another quarterback here, Jaden Daniels from LSU.
Not surprising. Lots of people wanted Jaden Daniels on the team for like in their mocks. So if I can find him, wow,
he's like ranked 20 something, I think, on the.
Yeah, I'm just gonna filter it by QB. I would assume he would have been in like the top 10, but yeah, he's ranked 21st. He has an average ADP of 4, so that'd be interesting here. No qualms there. He's a Heisman winner. I would expect nothing less than that. Okay, for the New England Patriots, this is a very interesting spot because I've seen on the CBS 7-round mock draft I'm seeing, they put Drake May to the Washington Commanders, and then the Patriots look like they're picking Jaden Daniels at 3. I am not particularly high on Drake May itself. So this is a spot where I wouldn't pick him here. But if I was doing this for New England, I would probably trade down or pick a different position. And I'm looking at these options here among the QBs. It's Drake May, JJ McCarthy, Bo Nix, and Michael Penix Jr. But if I'm thinking about the quarterback needy teams sitting at 10, 12, like 11, sorry, not the Jets, but the Raiders, I meant 11 through 13, and possibly the Saints, I do not want to take this risk of losing the quarterback I would want. And for me, because I don't value Drake May that high on my board, and I value this player a lot more higher on my board, I would consider him a top 5 prospect, and I wouldn't actually trade back to risk losing him. And I'm going to pick Michael Penix Jr.
Okay, so you got Michael Penix Jr. for the Patriots?
Yes.
Cool. I think that'd be a really cool draft day, like surprisingly high pick that'll happen. I'm really excited for Penix too.
But I think he's the second best prospect, maybe third best. Like, it's hard for me to value him over Daniels, but just like watching him play, like obviously they had a lot of receiving talent in Washington, but like even in Indiana, he's played really well. The only thing I'd be worried about with him is injuries, but that can happen to any one of these quarterback prospects. And I think his throwing ability is just through the roof. It's right up. He would be like the top prospect on the board if it wasn't if Caleb Williams wasn't in this draft, in my opinion.
Yeah, especially when he ran that like 4. What was his 40 time again? At his
no idea. I'm gonna look it up right now.
It was like a 4.46 or something. It was something crazy, or 4.6 or something.
Sub 4.6. I mean, that's still really fast for a quarterback.
Let's see.
Oh wait,
4.45.
Yeah, 4.46, 4.45. Yeah, I mean, I'm seeing the Bleacher Report header, and it said Michael Penix Jr. disappointed with a 4.46 second 40-yard dash, and I'm like, disappointed who? Disappointed who? Like, what did you expect him to run? He's a quarterback. Like, it's not important how fast he runs. Like, it's the fact that he knows when to run and how to use his legs.
Yeah. Yeah. So then next, I'm up with the Cardinals. I feel like this is another one of those that a lot of people just kind of assume is going to go one way, and so that's going to be. I'll have the Cardinals drafting Marvin Harrison Jr. right here. I don't know, everyone just says it. I believe it. I think most people believe it.
Okay. Yeah, that's a fair pick. Yeah, I honestly, if I'm the Cardinals here, I'd be looking to trade down because I would think I could still get like a Marvin Harrison in like pick 6 or maybe like Malik Neighbors or Rome Odunze. To me, like all three of them are like in that same tier, even though like I'd probably put Marvin Harrison above Neighbors and Odunze just because of what he could do with his physical size and how he maximized that. Whereas like it's kind of unfair to Rome and like Neighbors because they don't have that size that Marvin has. But Rome can play like Marvin, and like Neighbors wins in a different way. But if I'm the Cardinals, I don't really care if I miss out on Harrison if I get Rome or Neighbors because I think all three are that talented. So for me, it would be like maximizing the value, getting extra picks, moving down 2 spots, and still getting a receiver to help out Kyler Murray and Trey McBride.
Yeah.
So I think that's a solid selection there. Let's see here. At number 5, Chargers. This is a very tough spot for me because knowing Jim Harbaugh and like how he likes to build his teams, when you think about what he did in San Francisco, I'm jumping all over the place. I'm sorry. I would think it would be Joe Alt as the pick here, but they did get rid of like all their receiving options, literally all of them from the Chargers. So like I could see them go Neighbors, Odunze with this pick as well, maybe Bowers, and rebuild that unit.
Who's their tight end again?
They lost him. It was Joe Everett.
Right.
Now I think it's like Donald Parham Jr. Like he's there probably going to be the starter there. But yeah, like I don't know. But I'm gonna do. I think they have a lot of holes to fix. So for me, I'm gonna pick. I'm gonna pick a trade, and I'm gonna have them trade with the Minnesota Vikings. I'm gonna take their 11th and their 23rd, and I'm gonna send them to the Chargers for their 5th round pick. I mean 5th overall pick. I'll probably throw in. Let's see here. I'll probably throw in a 5th rounder here, and then for the Chargers, I'll probably throw in a 4th. Something like that. Something of that situation. And then let's see here. They're saying they're not interested for this pick. Let's see. What about Forces trade? Oh, okay. Never mind. I don't think we can do any trades. I wanted to, but that sucks. I think you have to subscribe and log in here, and I don't have a PFF account. All right. So in that case, sorry guys, we can't do any trades here. We're assuming everybody's staying where they're at. I'm gonna go ahead and pick Joe Alt. I think he feels the need for them, and I think it's still a team that Jim Harbaugh likes to build his teams with. That really sucks. I was hoping like you could trade picks and stuff because like that's what's gonna happen in the draft and whatnot.
Yeah, that'll probably I think there's a chance that they trade, but also just the fact that there's so many great guys that like that you feel like are going to be like guaranteed superstars at this spot. It's not like too far off to say that the Chargers probably like take a guy like Joe Alt or just one of the top receivers here.
But I mean, the thing is, they could still get like quality help. Like, 1 second. Let's see. Can you hear me? Okay.
I can hear you.
Okay. For some reason, my headset just like turned off randomly. All right. Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, the reason why I would trade with the Vikings in particular if I was the Chargers is because they have 2 first-round picks.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason I brought up the losing all those weapons is I would think you want to get all these weapons on rookie contracts if you're going that route, because they do have a lot of holes on their team.
Mm-hmm.
So like with the 11th round pick, I still think you can get a quality weapon. And like at 27, maybe you can get a guy like Jonathan Brooks or like Blake Corum or like a Xavier Worthy or Lab McConkey or like somebody around like that range where like you're still getting quality receiver plays. Maybe you get like your top 2 receivers. Pair him with Quentin Johnson, who's hopefully going to learn from his first season and see what that core looks like. Yeah, like he better, and like I wouldn't count him as your one right now. And like there's multiple ways. Like the Chargers are probably in the ideal spot for like a like Cardinals and Chargers. They're in the ideal spot for a team trading up and like getting more picks and more capital to work with. So, but if they think that highly of Joe Alt, we're like, we gotta have this guy. Like that's a perfectly reasonable pick for them to make as well.
Yeah.
All right, who do you got the Giants picking?
The Giants. Let's see. Looking at this list, I think it's tricky because I think they're another team that would benefit greatly from a wide receiver. But I don't know. Like I feel like the Giants could be a solid candidate for a trade down here. Obviously, I'm not going to trade down here, but I do think that I don't know. They could be another team that. Yeah, either like the Chargers or the Giants, I wouldn't be surprised to see trade down or make a trade with the Vikings to get their first rounders. But with just having this pick here, I think the Giants, they go for a receiver that really can stand out within their own receiver room. I know they've been trying to draft guys kind of like early-ish and kind of later in their drafts, but no one's really been that breakout star for him. And so I think they go let's see. I'll have them take Rome Odunze.
Great pick. Okay. I think I lost you there for a second. But yeah, I was about to say great pickup for them. Rome's a solid selection. He's going to help out their receiving room a ton. I think he instantly becomes their number one option. I'd be interested to see what they do from the quarterback position if they do make this move, because I've never been a believer in Daniel Jones as like a top 10, top 12 QB, despite of what his statistics were like 2 seasons ago. I get it, but like I think they dug themselves a hole where they lost Saquon because they decided to pick Daniel Jones, and just like the way Tommy DeVito performed last year compared to like Danny Dimes, like. I would pick quarterback here, but I understand the draft value of picking up Rome Odunze now and what it can do for a quarterback or a young quarterback. So I'm all aboard with this move. It's not a bad one. Personally, I would have probably picked like a JJ McCarthy.
Yeah.
Like I think he would be a perfect guy to go under Brian Dable and like really learn how to be a great quarterback, similar to like what Josh Allen. Like how Josh Allen flourished under Dable, and look at where he's at now.
Yeah. I think that quarterback is another valid option here, but I do think that whichever quarterback, if they do go quarterback at 6, gets drafted here, it'll have a very similar to Bryce Young's rookie season in terms of he'll look pretty awful, and I think just trying to squeeze out a couple more like I guess value adds in places to like help alleviate whichever quarterback they got, because I think next season there's a couple guys entering the draft. It's not going to be as deep as this year's, but I do think there's a couple guys next season who I do think could be decent options at the quarterback position, especially if the Giants just suck again this year with Daniel Jones. But yeah, and then I think
so. What you're saying, Corstian, is Giants fans have to suffer one more year with Daniel Jones this season.
Yeah. Well, maybe Daniel Jones will have a competent receiver once in his career. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think they are headed in the right track. Like
hmm
the Giants, like speaking
hmm
despite all these moves, like they tried to express confidence in Danny Dimes. It kind of backfired on them. So it's like I have trust in like what Dable and Shane are trying to do from the
hmm
regime standpoint. Um, whether or not like the owner is going to have patience with that, we'll see. But I, regardless of like the situation
hmm
they're in, I think this is a great pickup. Like
hmm
this is not going to hurt their chances of having a good
hmm
offense. Like
Yeah.
or trying to get to being a good offense here.
Yeah. Because what's nice about this too is like, whether it be Daniel Jones or whatever quarterback they draft in the future, Rome Dunze's gonna be here
Mhm.
to be a positive asset on this offense for whichever quarterback they decide to, try to cycle in
Mhm.
anytime in the future, whether it be, maybe Daniel Jones gets benched early on and Danny DeVito ends up playing a bunch, but he'll be I think he'll be a nice constant to have at least for the next couple of years for the Giants. And that's why I mentioned that trading down I think is a valuable option for them too.
Yeah.
Um,
Yep.
try to pick up more assets. I think they're in a similar situation as the Chargers, where there's a lot of holes on this team that need to be addressed, and just wide receiver seems like one of the better options for them now.
Yeah. No, completely fair. I'm gonna kind of speed things up a little bit here for the
Yeah.
Titans. I don't necessarily agree with PFF. When they
Yeah.
say one of their needs is wide receiver, because you look at that core now, um, they have what? They have DeAndre Hopkins, they have Calvin Ridley, and
hmm
then they have Traylon Burks. I think
Yeah.
that's a solid trio. I really do. I wouldn't
hmm
go ahead and mess with that.
hmm
Yeah, could they use having Malik Neighbors there and throwing like Calvin Ridley at the 3? Yeah, but that's just saying like how like I would think a really good wide receiver room should look. Um, I like Okonkwo, but I could see them taking Bowers here.
hmm
I wouldn't mind it if I'm the Titans. That'd probably be a good move for them.
hmm
From an O line standpoint, there's not really good options until you get to Fuaga, Butano, and then Fashanu. Like they're all like
hmm
good or Latham. Like those are
hmm
all like great options here. But for me, I think you want to prop up Will Levis as much as possible. I'm not a
hmm
believer in him, but I don't think the Titans are based on their moves. I don't think they're committed to like drafting another quarterback. I'm gonna go with Brock Bowers here.
Brock Bowers.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. Let's see. Next, I got the Falcons. Falcons are an interesting team because with the addition of Kirk Cousins and new coaching, all of a sudden they seem a lot more competent and have a lot less, I guess, things that worry me about the team. Um, but on multiple kind of just rankings and whatnot, it seems like uh, pass rusher is something that the Falcons could use. So let's see. Let's look at all these edge players here. There's a lot of good guys here that I'm excited.
Oh, they categorize it in different categories. So I'm just gonna go ahead and scroll down. So you got your choice of edge defenders and defensive linemen if you'd like.
Yeah. I'm looking at the edge. I've been pulled up on my screen too.
Oh, okay, sweet. No worries.
Yeah. So let's see. Here, like I'm pulled between either getting Dallas Turner or Jared Verse here. I think these are like the two most logical, at least for the Falcons in the case that I'm drafting an edge rusher for him.
You're not
Um,
gonna pick another offensive option for this team?
yeah, I mean, I could just be an annoyance and take Malik Neighbors right here,
Yeah.
just to make it so the Bears can't get him in your next pick.
I mean, yeah, you could. You could very well do that.
I mean, they could benefit from another wide receiver, but I feel like they have like a solid three-headed monster with their offensive weapons, and so
that they picked in 3 consecutive years at number 8.
yeah. But let's just go with Dallas Turner here.
Okay, I like that move. I think PFF categorized him as an edge defender, so I'm just going to try and see if I can find.
Yeah, he's an edge.
Yes. Yep. I'm not really paying attention to these ranks and ADPs because obviously it's dependent on like team needs and whatnot. But just as a refresher, we've gone through 8 picks. Started out with Caleb Williams, then Jaden Daniels. Then I kind of threw everybody for a loop by picking Michael Penix Jr. Corstian went with another junior, the best wide receiver in this class, Marvin Harrison Jr. I then picked Joe Alt. Corstian went with another receiver with Adunze. I went with the tight end Brock Bowers to Tennessee, realizing that although they have offensive line strength coaches, that I think this is too big of a prospect to pass up. And then Atlanta went with Dallas Turner. Of course, I've read my mind here with the Bears. I think they would help from planning for the future, knowing that Keenan Allen may be a 1-year rental. He may not. I think Malik Neighbors is too good to pass up here. And considering they have their 2 outside threats, and Keenan Allen can play in the slot, but Malik Neighbors would thrive in the slot when he has DJ Moore and Keenan Allen on the outside of him. More help for Caleb Williams, planning for the future, keeping that in mind. I'm going to go with Malik Neighbors to the Bears.
Okay. Malik Neighbors to the Bears.
The Bears.
I feel like Jets also feel like a decent candidate to trade down. I don't know, because I think
a lot of teams have been mocked to Brock Bowers. So like that's been a real trend lately. Like Brock Bowers falling to the New York Jets.
Yeah, like I feel like Jets could be a team that goes after a safety, but like I feel like going safety at this spot feels pretty unrealistic for him. I don't know, like this feels like it could be one of those like they might take like a best like player available kind of thing here. Because I think I will. I'll have them actually get Taliesin Fuaga from Oregon State, the offensive tackle. I know they got.
That's a good choice.
I know they got 2 offensive tackles over the course of free agency, but I still think that both of them are on the older side. Tyron.
The guy from Oregon State, right?
Yeah. What was that?
You said Fuaga from Oregon State, right?
Oh yeah. Because the Titans, not the Titans, the Jets, they got Tyron Smith from Dallas, and then they got Morgan Moses from the Ravens over the course of the offseason. But like Tyron Smith hasn't played a full season in like 2 or 3 years, I think, and then they're just both kind of older players, and so having someone ready to kind of cycle in and be that next guy up for just, I guess, however they decide to go, I think would be really good for him.
Yeah, I'm on full board with that view. I think anytime you invest in tackles and free agency, you're like, okay, this is a need we need to fill right now. We just need to have a starter here. That's kind of what you do, and especially like if you're desired free agents, so like sign elsewhere. Like you're just looking to fill the gaps here. The smart teams really build up depth and quality in the positions, plan for the future with their picks. And I think the smart thing to do here, knowing that Aaron Rodgers tore his Achilles 4 plays in, build as much help as you can. I don't know if they have Mekhi Becton on the roster, like where he's playing now, but he's had bad injury luck himself. I think you go the Detroit route, you go the Green Bay route, you invest in your offensive line, you prop up Aaron Rodgers. I could also understand them picking an offensive option here. Their offensive weapons outside of Garrett Wilson were abysmal last season. So I think getting Mike Williams is a solid move. And maybe trading down and drafting a receiver there instead is okay. You mentioned their proper trade down candidate. I could see that out of the Jets, but solid selection nonetheless. Okay. With the Vikings, I think it's pretty obvious. They want to get as much defense as possible, so I'm going to go ahead and pick Cooper DeJean. I'm just kidding. I don't think I could pass up on the quarterback prospects any longer. Although I'm not a huge Drake May fan, I think Kevin McConnell could make him look really, really good in this offense, and he'll throw to some really good weapons. And KJ Osborne's not on the team anymore, I think, but Jordan Addison and TJ Hawkinson, and of course Justin Jefferson. That'll be a great set of options to go in, and especially in an offensive environment that Kevin O'Connell brings. I think Drake May would be a solid selection here. They could go JJ McCarthy here as well, but I think May might be better in this situation because he's a very nice system level quarterback that's had some inconsistencies, but like with the weapons on this team, I think they can help maximize those like throws because they can go up and win the ball no matter how badly thrown it is.
Yeah, I think that's a good pick. I actually still really like Drake May. Yeah, like I understand the question marks kind of surrounding Drake May, but I just think it's funny how literally, even like midway through the college football season, like he was considered kind of like the 1B guy to Caleb Williams, and everybody was thinking, oh yeah, it's Caleb Williams.
And I mentioned this on this podcast too. Like going into the season and as we continue the season, it was like understood where it's like, oh, Caleb Williams and Drake May. And then when you dive into the tape and you see these other quarterbacks perform, it's like, oh, Penix is having a Heisman-worthy season. Jaden Daniels is doing amazing. Bo Nix is playing out of his mind as well. And like JJ McCarthy just led his team to a national championship. Like he wasn't like playing like a weakling. He was playing pretty well. Like, and all of a sudden you like dissect these quarterbacks and then you're like, oh wait, Drake May has these weird misses, like these weird inconsistencies, and then like it's just started going lower and lower on the draft board for me.
Yeah. Look, the Broncos are up on the clock. I'll have them take Sam Hartman. I'm just kidding. No, I think the Broncos, they likely take a quarterback right here. I feel like I'm like so about JJ McCarthy. I think he is like the next highest quarterback though in just the remaining players available amongst, at least with the quarterbacks, and so I'll have the Broncos take JJ McCarthy, who I'm still excited for. I think him and Bo Nix plus all the other quarterbacks we talked about ahead of this are pretty exciting guys to think about, and hopefully they all have good careers. But yeah, JJ McCarthy's the guy.
Okay. Solid selection here. JJ is probably like the hardest guy to evaluate right now in the league. Like as far as prospects, just because like there's so much that wasn't on tape where you're questioning can he do it or not, but he learned under a quarterback, like a former quarterback and Jim Harbaugh. They found a way to win a championship. He's going to a QB friendly scheme that you would think under Sean Payton, and I think he might be the type of quarterback that will work well with Sean Payton, and they're trying to rebuild that offense. I think he's a large stepping stone that will help make that happen. With the Raiders, there's multiple ways they could go about this. It depends on how they feel about Aiden O'Connell. I don't know. Like they could go another receiver here, but if it was me, I would take a chance on the upside of Bo Nix and see what happens between Bo Nix and Aiden O'Connell. Because I think Bo Nix has better physical upside than Aiden O'Connell does. Aiden O'Connell's like a nice, smart player, like one of the smartest players from Purdue. Like he's kind of like he's a guy you root for as a quarterback, but I see him in the league as like a journeyman, like spot starter type of guy.
Mhm.
I think Bo Nix has higher upside than that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that'll be kind of fun to see just quarterback go 11, 12, 13.
A lot of offense. I think the only defensive guy we've taken so far is Dallas Turner.
Yeah. Huh.
I mean, guys, you got to believe us when we're saying it's an offensive heavy draft.
Uh-huh.
A lot of great offensive options.
Yeah. And I'll probably keep that streak going for now at least. And with the Saints pick, I'll give them some more offensive help in the form of offensive linemen. So it'll be Olumuyua Fashanu from Penn State offensive tackle. And this just comes from I think tackle is still a need for them. You know, they drafted Trevor Penning a couple of years ago in the first, I think.
Oh, he's been awful for them.
Yeah, I swear, like I think his rookie season during camp or whatever, he was getting into fights and stuff, and like so that's been an issue. And the Ryan Ramchak, he's good, but like I know he's been having lingering leg issues or something like that, and so that just kind of concerns. So whether or not so ideally, a Ramchak, he stays healthy all season, and then you can just kind of get Fashanu as a plug and play guy at your tackle position, and keep whatever you have at quarterback upright.
Yeah, I mean, to my opinion, I think the reason why I lost that bet, like with you on Derek Carr versus Jared Goff, was because of Trevor Penning. Like the Saints had all the pieces they needed to be a very explosive offense, but the Trevor Penning would single-handedly crush their hopes and dreams. Like Derek Carr would get hurt, or like he would not have enough time to throw. Like there's a lot of miscommunication on routes because Derek Carr had to rush, and then like Chris Olave wasn't where Derek Carr wanted to be, or like Derek Carr couldn't find the ball to Chris Olave well. And all of that, I think, just stemmed from a tackle problem. This is a clear like need the Saints have to address. So I like the pick there. For the Colts, I love the potential of Anthony Richardson. I think the Pittman like Pierce combo they have is good. I'd love for them to add at receiver in this draft because there's a lot of good receivers here. But for that reason, I'm not going to pick one in the first round here. I want to help out. What's up? Oh, okay. I thought you were trying to say something.
No.
But I think their other need, like I see here, is DB. And I'm looking at the quality of cornerbacks here. It's really, really good. And I think what better to build a formidable unit than like replace like Stephon Gilmore. I think he's not on the Colts anymore.
No.
And then, yeah. But they do have Kenny Moore. That's a huge strength of theirs. Continue building on that with Cooper DeJean. Protect yourself on the outside, especially when you're trying to go up against the Texans and the Jaguars. I think this is a clear sign that they and the Titans for that matter, with the addition of Ridley, and then having Hopkins there. I'm gonna go with Cooper DeJean out of Iowa.
Sweet. Seahawks. I think it's simple. I think their offense is more or less that they could benefit from like interior offensive line, but I think tight end or not tight end. That is also a weakness, I think. But defense is kind of where the direction I wanted to go to with the Seahawks right here, and I think Jared Verse is just kind of like a nice explosive like edge rusher that they can get to add on to kind of just a secondary that seems pretty stacked. And I think they added guys like off-ball linebackers. Right. Yeah. I think they picked up like Jerome Baker, which
they had a very quiet off season.
But yeah, having Jared Verse there, I think is kind of just like a nice little pass rush boost for them.
Yeah, I mean they're also a team that could pick quarterback here, but I think their move to get Sam Howell in free agency signals that they want to give him a shot and see how well he could develop in their scheme. And I like the move, especially when you got Leonard Williams there already, and then like try to revamp your secondary in the last offseason. The rush and the secondary kind of go hand in hand. So improving that is a great idea. Great value at the 16th pick. He's really a top 10 player. I've talked about him as one of my guys. I think he can almost win in any way possible. And I think to get him in the 16th round is going to really help out this team. As far as the Jacksonville Jaguars, I think they're pretty set at receiver with their additions, with adding Gabe Davis there. Like, I think they'll be okay. But Christian Kirk's been a solid player, and then Parker Washington, they're in a good spot there. I think they're a good spot with edge rusher actually, with like Josh Allen and Trayvon Walker. They just inked Josh Allen to a deal too. I think they would go Quinyon Mitchell here, just because they lost one of their receivers. I mean they lost one of their corners because he went back to the Rams. I think it was Darius Williams.
Yeah. It was. Yeah, I think it was Darius Williams.
Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and pick Mitchell here.
Okay.
All
right. Let's see. The Bengals. Let's see. I'm thinking right here. I was looking ahead at like their team needs. Here on NFL.com, it lists like offensive tackle, defensive tackle, cornerback, wide receiver, and tight end. I think the wide receivers brought up just because of like the whole like tagging T. Higgins thing, which I guess is a valid point if they can't keep Higgins long term. I think that'd be valuable, but I don't think that's a first round thing that they necessarily need to address. So I think I continue with offensive linemen here. So I picked a handful, I think. Yeah. Okay. And I will have them draft J.C. Latham from the University of Alabama. Ooh. Okay.
Solid pick. I think he'll be great for them. I don't know if Jonah Williams is still on the team or not, but
No,
I'm pretty sure he's not. He's not on the Bengals anymore, is he?
No, he's not on the Bengals. They did get Trent Brown, but because I was looking at their depth chart, I guess their left tackle is Orlando Brown, and then their right tackle is Trent Brown for now. But I don't know. Trent Brown's had like injury stuff in the past.
Yeah, that's too many Browns that I would like on the Bengals team, considered like what division they play in. So like that might not be the best strategy there. Just saying. Yeah, clearly making a Cleveland Browns pun there. But for Los Angeles, with their picks here, they're kind of they would have been in a hard spot for me to figure out where they need to go. But then you look at the Aaron Donald retirement, and I feel like I just have to go defensive tackle here. And luckily, like honestly, these two options between Newton and Murphy, like I don't feel like you can go wrong. I think they're both really good players. I'd probably have Murphy slightly higher than Newton, but they can't go wrong with either of these selections. So I'm gonna pick Byron Murphy from Texas.
Byron Murphy. I think it's funny how there's another Byron Murphy in the league.
Yeah. What about Josh Allen? We were just talking about him. Josh Allen. Remember that game with Josh Allen just like wreaked havoc on Josh Allen?
Yeah.
I will never forget that one.
Yeah, here Steelers at 20. I do think offensive line pretty large issue for them right now. Let's see. Oh, hey, the guy I was looking at's the guy that gets mocked for him, so I guess I'll go with that. But it is Center Jackson Powers Johnson, I think, right? Jackson
I
Powers.
was
Yeah.
just about to recommend him. That's a great pickup.
Because it was either going to be him or just an offense. It was him on offensive tackle or a wide receiver just to kind of continue bolstering that wide receiver room of theirs. But I feel like offensive line's been an issue, especially now that they got Russell Wilson, who isn't as like mobile as he used to be, and so just kind of having more guys that can hold down the fort for him in Pittsburgh, I think will be a good move for them.
Yeah, solid selection there. If I'm Miami, I'm kind of in this ideal spot for me. I see their needs, and I think they're valid. I think if you're a disciplined DM, I'd probably pick Newton here, just because, like you lost Christian Wilkins in free agency, and that was a huge loss. I think you need to rebuild their defense. That's definitely important. But I do think that if you do get this receiver, it's going to be a complete game changer for this offense. And I've talked about this when I was describing him, but what better way to get more speed on the field and really have your team be like feared than adding, oh my gosh, he's not here, Xavier Worthy. I'm going to pick Xavier Worthy at 21 to the Dolphins. That was a long scroll I wasn't expecting to make. But if the Dolphins add him, I think they're pretty much set for their future. And like, even if Hill retires, they have a guy that they can pair with Waddle, still have the same effect on offense. Not to the degree that Tyreek Hill had on this offense, clearly. But I think he's a receiver. And I talked about him last week. I think he's the receiver that can still win with speed, but is more than that. He's a primary option, like a 1B. Think Stephon Diggs in Minnesota when his talent wasn't realized yet. I think that could be Xavier Worthy.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's kind of a fun pick for them there. For the Eagles, I was trying to find the top Georgia defense alignment. I couldn't find one though. So I think funny. I might have to go a different route for him here. And I think cornerback is a valid, place for them to start. Logic tells me to go Arnold, but like the Eagles mindset makes me think of McKinstry. So, who do you think we should go with?
I think it can't go wrong with Arnold or Wiggins. I think they're both highly rated cornerbacks. I've seen Wiggins go high a lot, but I think Terrion Arnold would be the safer play here.
Right. See, I guess we go with Terry and Arnold. Their cornerbacks, while they have.
If you're trying to be cool, I would go with Kool-Aid McKinstry.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. It was like it's either Arnold or McKinstry for me, just because Kool-Aid. Have you made the pick yet? No. Oh, you have.
I put in.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, I think cornerbacks a valid need for them. Their guys are getting older. Secondary is a big weakness they had in that secondary last season, and so hopefully he's another guy, or he's a guy that elevates the team.
Yeah, Corstian with the sideways thinking there. Not sure what's up with that.
Well,
no, you're good. You're good. And I was like trying to move my head sideways for a reason and orienting myself. I was like, whoa, Corstian, sideways. But you're good, man. Should be all good from the camera angles there. For Minnesota, we picked, I believe, Drake May with that first pick in the first round that they had. Yes, we picked him at 11. So now that we adjust like the quarterback room, I don't think tight end's a huge need for them. I think their defense is largely improved. They could use some protection. I think that's great. But I mean, for here, I'd probably look at the value. I think they could use a guy like Jerzon Newton. I think that'd be a great get for them. Just to have that similar effect on the D line. Obviously, it's going to be hard. Or actually, I'm going to give them Latu. I think they need that edge defender. I know Newton might be a player I might prefer here, but I think Latu gives them a defensive end they can trust to bring in a strength on the line.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that he's going to be as diverse as Daniil Hunter. Daniil Hunter is one of the best edge defenders in the league, but like I think Latu might help like alleviate that and still bring the pressure when they're not blitzing, which is very rare.
Okay. Yeah, I like that pick too.
Mm.
So now it's back to me with them boys. Let's see. I think offensive tackle is a solid thing for him here. Especially they did lose Tyron Smith over the course of free agency, so I think we can play it relatively safe. Get Troy Faltanu, just fill in tackle spot. I think he's relatively plug and play.
Okay. All right. With Green Bay, I know looking at their mock, they have Nate Wiggins going there because of the loss of Rasul Douglas, meaning the CBS 7-round mock, and then like Carrington Valentine. I actually think Valentine wasn't that bad. To me, I know they tried to address it last season with losing Bakhtiari this offseason, but if I was Green Bay, I would try and rebuild the offensive tackle position. Try and just make sure you solidify that because you do have a nice offense with Jordan Love, nice weapons there. Like just objectively looking at this team, I would want to build as much protection as possible. So I think they're pretty set at receiver actually too. So I'm gonna go with Amarius Mims out of Georgia.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's solid pickup from there. And then yeah, especially just their offense is kind of like really finding its groove, and so just getting another solid piece there just to kind of continue their forward momentum would be a really smart move for him to do. I'm going on to the Buccaneers here. Let's see. I think they've retained a lot of good players over the course of free agency. I was really impressed with that, but also there's still a decent amount of holes I think they need to work on, and so I think they draft a guy to replace Devin White with Peyton Wilson here.
I was just thinking that. I was thinking you can't go this far without not picking Wilson.
Right, and he's like we talked about last week, he's a really good sideline to sideline player. He's a lot of similar traits with Devin White, and he's still got Levante David back there too.
Yeah.
Still try to form that duo, and hopefully, Wilson develops, I guess, the way that they want him to, so that come time for re-signing, they extend him rather than letting him hit free agency. And so I think that's a solid move here. On here it says running back's another potential need for him. I think that something they could address. Obviously, I don't think first round is a thing for them to do here, but I think it's down the road. But I think Peyton Wilson's a good move here for him.
Okay, that's fair. With the Cardinals, I know they made a couple offseason moves to adjust defensive line. I'm trying to remember what they did exactly. Arizona free agency moves because I was thinking about going. Oh, they got former Bears, and that's how I remember them: Justin Jones and Bilal Nichols. So those are honestly solid selections there. They could double down on receiver. It would be a great opportunity to do that. But I would double down because knowing Jonathan Gannon, he probably wants to have a rotation of defensive line. And I think that was the big bugaboo for this team. So I'm going to go ahead and pick Newton here. He was supposed to be picked a long time ago, but this is right around the range where he's a good selection.
Okay. Now we're on the Bills. I think Bills are a fun team to be drafting for. They lost all their wide receivers over the course of the offseason. Obviously, there's guys there that I still think can put up decent numbers. but no one's really like a solidified wide receiver one. And so I think they go wide receiver here as well, just to hopefully this guy becomes the top dog. If not, hopefully the guy they draft here stays like a solid wide receiver too for his career kind of thing. But here I think it's a guy who's fallen kind of. I mean, it's still first round. I think it's valid to pick him around here, but this is Brian Thomas Jr. from LSU.
Great pick. That was the guy I was thinking about towards the end of the first round who would be a good fit. I think that's a guy that's not talked about enough in that LSU offense. He's a great quality receiver. I think he has a lot of potential there. I really like Brian Thomas Jr. Like, there's a lot of wide receivers I really like in this draft. I think the thing with him is like he's not forced to be the primary option necessarily with Kincaid that first year, so he would develop great in the Buffalo scheme. Great work there. For me with the Lions, and I don't really view their offensive line as weaknesses per se right now, so I'm going to kind of ignore that. I'm looking at the board right now, and I know Kool-Aid is mocked in the CBS draft to the Lions, but I don't think you can go this far without passing up Nate Wiggins. I think he's a solid cornerback. He's going to be he's going to be a solid foundational piece that they need in the secondary. I think they really need help in that regard, especially after losing Chauncey Gardner-Johnson back to the Eagles. So I think the Lions would be smart to pick a cornerback here.
Yeah. Go. Ravens. Schmavens. I feel like they're obviously far down the board, but I think their pick's still somewhat straightforward for them. Obviously, they lost their starting right tackle during free agency, so what better way than to replace them with your first round pick and draft Graham Barton, the offensive tackle from Duke.
Yeah. I don't know much about Barton, but I'm trusting with this tackle class to be a good selection here.
Yeah, we have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 offensive tackles in the first round so far.
It's a deep tackle class. It's a great tackle class for sure. The 49ers, they're kind of in this weird moment where they don't really have a lot of weaknesses on the team per se. But I will say this. I think their offensive line was weaker than in years past. I think you want to try and work to build towards that. So looking at their team, they're kind of in a weird spot too. I really don't know what to do here. Like, they're kind of in a weird spot, to be honest.
Yeah.
I would worry about an Ayuk trade. Like, they could draft receiver here, but I think they're going to keep him. I'm going to go ahead and pick Chop Robinson.
I'd like that.
On the D line. I think he's not like for some reason he was viewed as like a first round pick, like early mock drafts, and then his name started sliding on the board all of a sudden, and I don't get it why. I think it's a quality defensive end. And I think like it's a perfect scheme, especially when you lose Chase Young for like the 49ers to try and start to rebuild that line, because they're always known for having great defensive lines. So that'd be my pick there. I would most likely have gone like offensive line, but given the amount of tackles that they pick, which is really where they need help, and like just the value on the board, I think it might be better to go defensive line here. Play your cards right.
Yeah, you can never have enough defensive linemen too, apparently, because I don't know. I feel like teams with good defensive line depth make it far in the season. Their pass rushers stay fresh. Obviously, I feel like we even saw like what 2 years ago, I think, when like Von Miller and the Bills were he was kind of like their lead pass rusher, and he got hurt, and then all of a sudden the Bills had 0 pass rush the rest of the season, and so
Yep.
you can never have enough guys to put pressure on the quarterback because that's kind of it gets you the wins. But now me with the Chiefs. On here it says wide receivers in need. I think it's a position they could go for, not necessarily the position I have them going here for now.
Really? Wow. You must really hate the Chiefs to not pick wide receiver here.
Yeah, well, I just think you still got. I mean, you have Marquise Brown, who should be literally better than everything you had combined last season outside of the tight end. Plus, you still got your tight end. Offensive tackle, like left tackle, is a thing they could go into because I know their left tackle is kind of like a question mark right now. But then I also trust Patrick Mahomes' mobility enough to like be able to avoid some pressure from that left tackle spot. And so I think I have him going cornerback here to kind of cover up for L'Jarius Sneed's departure, and that is with Kool-Aid McKinstry.
Wow. Kool-Aid, the KC. Wow. I was not expecting that. I was fully prepared for a Ladd McConkey to the Chiefs. I think that would have been a great selection for them, but that works too. We are over an hour on this episode. I didn't think we'd get this far here. I got to focus on packing for my trip tomorrow. But this was a lot of fun. I think next week we're planning to record Tuesday before the draft. I think we'll cover rounds 2 and 3. And then basically where we're at from there, we can just focus on players outside of that. Who would we want to pick that hasn't been selected yet? This is a lot of fun, Corstian. I really enjoyed this.
Yeah, it was fun talking. It was fun looking through these prospects. I feel like I learned a little bit more about this draft too. Obviously, I knew, tackle, offensive line was deep, wide receiver was deep and everything, but I got to do a little bit extra reading on some of these other guys maybe I hadn't heard too much about. So little extra reminder for me on who's cool and not.
I love the fun there. Yeah, I mean, it's a fun exercise. And keep in mind, this draft is 100% accurate. This is exactly what will happen Thursday night. There's not going to be a single trade down or trade up. Michael Penix is definitely going 3. We're definitely going to have 8 tackles drafted in the first round and whatnot. But hey, the fun part about the draft is anything can happen, unless you're a Bears fan. That's probably the worst feeling in the world when we trade up for the wrong guy. But it should be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to this. There's a lot of offense to be excited about. A lot of defensive players that are going to be sliding, and you're going to be like, how did he end up at like 25, like halfway through the season? And I'm just really excited to see how teams decide to build their rosters out. Should be a fun watch. Going to really enjoy it. So for now, thanks, Corstian, for hopping on, giving your input. It's a lot of fun, and hopefully the Broncos will never pick a quarterback in the first round, just to rub it in for you.
I'd cry.
Hey, for what you know, the Bears really might pick JJ McCarthy for a overall pick. So
I'd
there's
laugh.
that. Alrighty, guys, this was fun. You can follow us on Instagram at iman.a.mission. Yep. Well done, Corstian. Well timed. You can also follow us on YouTube at Aman A Mission. That's 3 words there in the channel name. Not down there. Don't follow Corstian. He's crazy. You could subscribe, comment, like on our podcast. If you guys have any questions, and Corstian's just messing with the filters now. Haha, it didn't work on you. But if you guys have any comments, concerns, like who would you rather draft in these spots, please let us know. It's always a fun time doing this. This is probably our favorite moment, like, of the podcast, thinking about futures when like everybody has a shot. And I think it'll be fun next week as well, and like the week after when we find out which teams drafted which players. I think this is going to be a load to talk about, and we can't wait for it. So thank you guys for watching, and enjoy the rest of your night.
Peace.